Hey everybody, welcome back to In Bed with the Millennial. I'm the Millennial, Javeda Bay, and this is my bed. So, it's the last week of April, which means it's the last week of our Sexuality and Sex Ed Through Life series. And today, we are talking about sexuality and sex ed in late adulthood. Now, firstly, I want to say that I'm not going to put like an age range on late adulthood. Like, it varies from person to person on what they feel is late adulthood. But it's basically when like society tells us that we stop being a sexual being and on. Which if we're going off of what media says, it's like after like your late 30s, like you're no longer sexual because you're old. I don't believe that. Honestly, I know for a fact that especially in retirement homes and stuff, yo, they be getting down. So we're going to talk about it because as we all know, as you continue through life, you still need to learn more. So what does sexuality look like in late adulthood and how does it change? Well, first things, we got more bodily changes, y'all, in late adulthood. Mainly that beautiful thing that people with uteruses have to look forward to, menopause. So menopause and sex, like what? What? That's a thing that how many people actually talk about? How many things have you seen out there that actually talks about menopause and sex? Not just like menopause, like, oh, this happens, but like, oh, this happens, and guess what? You're still probably gonna want to enjoy yourself. Yeah, very few resources. We need to change that for sure. You've also got the opposite side. If you have a penis, the body changes and sometimes erectile dysfunction happens. And though I will say there is more out there on erectile dysfunction in sex, I think we could do a little bit more to talk about it, especially in terms of actually engaging with a partner, and instead of just offering this one solution of a little blue pill. You know, yes, that is a sexuality change that happens and it's a normal one and that is a-okay and we need to normalize it. And lastly, that I'm going to hit on, like living changes impact your sexuality and sex life, especially if you are moving into retirement homes or assisted living homes, because some of them don't allow you to get down and jiggy with it. I have learned since being in grad school that there are retirement and assisted living homes that like try and prohibit their residents from actually engaging in sexual activity with each other. Which is like bonkers to me. Like, it truly, I'm just like, what? You could, they pay you, you can't be telling them, but that's a whole different conversation. So that's another change. Also, it's a really funny one because if you actually look at like STI, like rates and stuff, STIs are extremely high and rampant in retirement and assisted living homes. So you should probably like, talk about things a little more so that things are, but that's just my personal opinion. But what does sex ed look like during late adulthood? It looks a lot like what it looks like in adulthood, but with a little tweaks to actually focus on the way the body is changing, because the body does change in late adulthood. Like, you get older, your body's like, girl, we don't got the Siamese no more. We don't do that here. Your body's like, I need a nap. Like, the body changes. So as I said, like, you've got menopause, you have got all this stuff that's happening. So like, what is our sex ed gonna look like? It's gonna include those things. It's actually gonna talk about it. So I'm gonna be like, hey, you know what? Here's some great lube options, because as you go through menopause, natural lubrication ain't all that. But also, y'all, please remember that lubrication is not like a all day, everyday thing. Like, you should use lube always. You've also got like, hey, what positions can we do? Because my knees, my back, that's what sex ed should and could include. You have also need to include like this creativity piece in sex ed for late adulthood. Like, how can we be creative about what we're doing? Because we can't do what we used to do back when we was like in our early 20s and you used to throw me around the bedroom. So what can we do? Like, how can we revamp our sex life in late adulthood? It should also, of course, include STIs, because just because you're in late adulthood does not mean that STIs went away. They still exist. You can still interact with them. So we should talk about that. And we should talk about ways to like combat it, especially if you were in late adulthood and you didn't get any sex ed before then. You should definitely have that conversation, because they don't go away. And also because as your body is older, it becomes more susceptible to sickness. So we should really talk about it. Especially because if you're not actually getting tested in late age, STIs can cascade into other problems, yada, yada, yada. We don't want that. So STIs should be a part of sex ed in late adulthood. Also, we should be talking about sex toys in late adulthood sex ed because sexual aids are amazing, and they're even more amazing in late adulthood when you can use them to do things that you wanted to do, that you used to do, that you can't do on your own anymore. So talking about sex toys that have longer reach, so that way you can reach around when you can't do it for whatever reason it may be. There's a whole lot of different ways. Also, one of my favorite topics to talk about when it comes to late adulthood and sexuality and sex, kink and BDSM, because though it's not discussed as often, kink and BDSM has a lot of like physical benefits. Like rope play has great benefits for your oh, I'm really bad with this part of the body naming. Parasympathetic, one of the body systems. It's really great to like tie it up, helps with the blood flow. So like kink and BDSM could be a great sex ed thing to teach to people in late adulthood. So why don't we do that? I don't know, but we should start. But yeah, if you are in late adulthood, know someone in late adulthood that's like, yo, I'm still getting down and I need to talk to somebody about this, I'm here for them. Please send them my way. I would love to chat with them. But yeah, sex ed, sexuality is a part of every aspect of our life. It doesn't just stop because we hit like 37. Like it continues on and on and on. And though the media will try and tell you otherwise, that is not the truth. You will be sexual until the day you die in some way, shape, or form. So we should celebrate that. We should continue to learn about it. And we should talk about it a lot more than we actually do. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this whole series. Get ready, because like we're about to be doing a lot more series. And I am going to see y'all later. See y'all next week. Make sure you like this video, subscribe, share it with all your friends, share with your grandparents. Like truly, share with your grandparents. I would love that if you did that. And make sure you come back next week because I'm gonna have a whole new video because it's my favorite month next week. Masturbation May. And yeah, I'm gonna see y'all later. Deuces.